Thank you. We're going to conclude this roundup of highlights by talking about the middle school we launched this year, and that's Ockley Green. So I'm going to invite Senior Director Carl Logan to come downstairs to talk about Ockley Green.
Good evening. My name is Carl Logan. I'm Senior Director for the schools affiliated to Grant High School and Jefferson High School. And so the areas of emphasis that I'd like to share with you today are, when we talk about improved staff climate through ongoing communication, is the restorative practice PD that we've been doing with our staff and ensuring that they have an opportunity to have a voice at the school and to share what's working, what's not working, and that's done at every staff PD. Also in this area of improved staff climate through ongoing communication is a weekly principal newsletter that goes out to the whole community, including the staff. The principal is meeting with our building union reps weekly. For professional learning communities focused on lesson analysis and student work, I would say this has actually been one of the highest leverages or best practices we've implemented there, and it is our PLC work, professional learning communities, and it's facilitated by the teachers. I would say it's one of our highest leverage, and it's also one of our biggest challenges in terms that we only are able to implement it twice a month. The goal for next year is looking to see how we can build a schedule that has it every week. In the PLCs, they look at lesson planning, and they also look at how assessment is, teachers are using assessment to drive their instruction and make instructional shifts and changes for students. For our inclusive behavior practices, another piece that the staff there is working really hard on is making sure that there's restorative practices for our students and ensuring that student voice is being heard. This year they launched the student government and really trying to work with our students to take more ownership of their school and feel free to come and talk with staff and leadership on things that they want to get started. One thing they wanted to get started this year was a student store. So we do have a student store at the school. We also have another group of leaders at the school that is supported by our counselor. And so those two groups is where our real focus is for our student voice and student empowerment. For partnerships and families, the two areas I'd like to emphasize is our SEI partnership, which has been really amazing at the school. We have 3 strong coordinators or mentors through SEI. Not only are they supporting our students and families, but they're also supporting our teachers on how best to work with our students and their families. We do have a SON program at the school that is, I know there's been discussion on how we can make our SON also have offerings in the morning. With our school starting at 9:15 like other middle schools, it's pretty late for middle schoolers, and so many of our middle schoolers are there by 8:30. So we're looking to see how we can have more offerings through SON in the morning. Our professional development needs. I would say probably one of the biggest areas that we're looking to move forward with is providing professional development for staff on the adolescent brain, or how middle schoolers really tick and what drives middle schoolers, which could be different from day to day or hour to hour or period to period. And so we're looking forward to moving in that direction. More culturally responsive instruction is needed at the school. We do have some teachers who do an amazing job in that area, and we're looking to put some funds so that we can release certain teachers to go watch other teachers teach. And then I would say the third piece of professional development that we're moving forward with is our AVID program, and ensuring that our AVID strategies eventually become school-wide.
Thank you, Senior Director Logan, and thank you to all the staff for your updates. Board, that concludes our presentation this evening. The staff is ready for any questions you may have.
Director Bailey.
I wondered what the status was of finding a permanent principal for Ockley Green.
Senior Director Logan or HR Chief Kylie Rogers, if either of you could talk about where we are in the process.
And also where we are with Scott and Rigler as well.
So we are currently in the process. We have interviewed and taken several candidates through our process, and we're still moving through it right now.
We are hoping to wrap up the particular process around Ockley Green in an expedited fashion with the candidates currently in process and expanding our pool by the beginning of next month.
Scott.
And Scott and Rigler.
Yeah, it's the same process. So there's candidates who have been interviewed for those two schools, and I'm not sure how much I can say about certain schools, but it's the same process.
So our senior directors have laid out a process working with HR, our assistant superintendent. There's a candidate pool, eligible candidates that have been screened. Candidates are being vetted, interviews are happening, but there haven't been any recommendations to date.
I'm going to ask a question because you're up there. Before we switch to a different topic, just back still on Ockley Green, I really appreciate the thorough update about what's happened, and appreciate that it appears the work with the staff and students is really evolving and getting them ready for hopefully a strong year next year. I'm curious whether there has been, and you may not be the person to answer this, but maybe you can tell me who can, if we've done a sort of lessons learned from the Ockley Green rollout, and whether that's informing both sort of Ockley 2.0 for next year and also the other two middle schools.
Yeah, so we have, and we presented, I believe that was maybe 2 weeks ago, and because I'm working closely with Natasha, there's many lessons learned that's informing the work we go forward with Roseway and Tubman.
So I would only add that we had our planning principals work with the faculty there. They did a individual by individual survey, collected their thoughts, their thinking. We invited Ockley's administrative team to also come and present to the cabinet as a case study to learn what were some of the takeaways. A key theme there was a short timeline to be thoughtful about a lot of the components in launching a school. So that was definitely one that stood out, and there's definitely a lot of implications for ways that we've made some moves to support the school's ongoing work this school year.
Were parents and community members involved in that lessons learned?
Yes, we've had several surveys that go out this year, and our site council and PTA at Ockley are very, very involved.
Are the results of the lessons learned, are you going to share back to the school community any of those lessons?
To the Ockley school community?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been sharing as we go along. We have not shared the specific presentation that we put together that Mr. Guerrero is speaking of, and we can do that.
I think it would be, I mean, they're different audiences, so you might want to emphasize different things, but I think it would be helpful for the school community to know that you heard, and what takeaways what lessons you have drawn from what you've heard.
Yeah.
I think that would be helpful.